To reconnect to start. Okay. So at the moment we're just testing out to see if the live is working, and it seems to be working at the moment, which is really good. So for anyone that's going to be jumping online in the next minute or so, we're just setting up this afternoon's interview with Bill Moore, the CEO of Fitness Australia, and testing and making sure that everything's actually working. We'll be going live in about 60 seconds time or so. So sit tight everyone, and we will we'll be with you in just a second. Cool. We seem to be working. We are.
We're live, look.
We got people coming. We're live everywhere. Okay. Are you guys live now as well? Okay, we've got the countdown. We're all set to go. Okay. So many screens to look at. Well, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome along to this afternoon's broadcast. I'm Chantal, host of the Fitness Business Podcast, and I'm joined this afternoon by Bill Moore, the CEO of Fitness Australia. Thanks for joining me, Bill.
Thank you for inviting me, Chantal. Lovely to see you.
Now, if it looks a little bit funny because I'm kind of talking to one camera and then talking to the other, the reason is we're actually broadcasting this both on the Fitness Business Podcast Facebook page and also on the Fitness Australia Facebook page. So needless to say, you've probably seen the promotions for this afternoon's interview. There has been some really exciting news being announced from Fitness Australia today, so that's what we're here to talk about. Now, I know that some of you will have already seen some of that coverage in the press in the last couple of hours. If you have any questions to ask throughout the broadcast today, what I would ask is that you just write them in the comments section below, and at the end of the interview, one of the team, either Bill or one of the team from Fitness Australia, will get back and answer all of those questions. Saying that, we have got a lot of information to get through over the next 15 minutes, so I think we'll get stuck straight into it. How does that sound?
That sounds good.
Okay, so there was a very exciting and important announcement that affects all of the Australian fitness industry that came out this morning. Bill, can you share what that announcement was?
Yes, I certainly can. It's tremendously exciting for Fitness Australia. Probably the biggest news out of Fitness Australia since our inception in 2008, and that is that a Fitness Australia-led joint venture has acquired the Filex convention, the education component of the of Filex, which is enormously exciting. It's a wonderful opportunity, and we're absolutely delighted with it.
That's wonderful news, and I think we can both agree that Filex is one of the premier fitness events all across the world, and it really is an incredible legacy and responsibility to obviously carry on from Nigel Champion and from Greg Hurst and all of the team. So congratulations on that news this morning. Now, can you share with us how the purchase of Filex actually came about?
Yeah, it's actually really interesting because we would be one of the few peak national bodies that actually doesn't own its own convention. So it's always been a little bit strange, if you like, in that respect. So the opportunity, when that opportunity came up, it was something that we immediately jumped on. I actually had a chat with Nigel when I first started in this role, and we were talking about the ownership of the convention, and it was an interesting conversation, but it actually went nowhere. But then in March of this year, it became evident that it was available for sale. I then went back to the board of directors and advised them, and then after an awful lot of toing and froing, and believe me, there had been an awful lot of it, we managed to go ahead with the purchase. Fundamentally, there was broad agreement that it would be an enormous benefit for the association, and so we pursued it very hard.
Now, needless to say, there's going to be a lot of different viewpoints and a lot of different questions around today's announcement. So what would you say to the people who are asking, why would Fitness Australia purchase Filex?
Well, as a peak national body, it positions us perfectly. Our strategic plan for 2020 provides for three fundamental core elements, and that is proactive leadership, meaningful engagement, and service excellence. A convention of the calibre and the quality of Filex meets all three of those head on. So it's a wonderful opportunity for us, but it's also a wonderful opportunity for our members. And it clearly positions Fitness Australia for who we are and what we do. And that is about accredited continuing education. It's about quality education and raising the standard within the industry as a whole. So it was a natural progression for the association, and naturally, it was, I say, a long haul, but we managed to get there in the end.
Absolutely. Bill, I want to dive into the press release itself because for those of us that received a copy of the press release, the headline on that release read, Fitness Australia-led joint venture acquires fitness industry's premier education convention, Filex. Can you explain to everyone what Fitness Australia-led joint venture actually means?
Certainly. When we're a not-for-profit, we don't have vast tracts of money that we can invest into opportunities such as this. So when it first became available, I ran around town trying to borrow some money to make it happen. It was unsuccessful. I was unable to do so. But the board had already expressed their commitment towards seeing if we could acquire Filex because it did position us so accurately. So we went to them with the idea of what about if we formed a joint venture in which Fitness Australia could be an equal share partner. So that's what happened at the end of the day. So there was now 5 parties involved in the joint venture. Fitness Australia is one. All 5 parties own 20%. I am another partner. Justin McDonald is another partner. Andrew Simmons is another partner. And David Allen is the last partner, which is actually a really interesting mix of individuals. We threw it open to the board generally and said, who can invest in this so that we can make the most of this opportunity. And at the end of the day, there were 4 of us that were able to do it. And what it has done is enabled us to bring Fitness Australia into the equation.
Well, I want to thank you so much for sharing that insight with us this afternoon, Bill. So I was having a look online after the press release came out. No, needless to say, like any news that comes out into the industry, there was some comments surrounding the announcement. And one of the things that people were saying is, how different the Filex convention might be in 2018. What's your response to people that are saying that?
Well, Filex has just established this incredible reputation for quality continuing education, and that won't change, and we'll continue to progress that. In terms of the other key elements of Filex, so they will pretty much stay the same, except we want to be expansive, except we want to be more engaging. So we're really keen to be engaging with, I know, for example, that yoga had a terrific presence with Ignite. This is the kind of thing that we're really interested in opening this up. Because the other thing about Filex is it is the annual fitness industry social get-together. Everyone comes together for that one event. It's so wonderful to see everybody year after year. We've got people that have been in the industry for a long time now, and it's great to go back and just make new friendships as well as renew old ones. So yeah, that component won't change either. The other thing for us, though, is that we're very focused on business. So we're very conscious about bringing the fitness business community together, as well as the educational component. So that will be something that we can all look forward to.
Well, I've got to tell you, on behalf of the Fitness Business Podcast, where our entire focus is around bringing business-based information to the industry, I'm thrilled to hear that, Bill. Now, you've touched on it a couple of times just during our chat now, and that is the future of Fitness Australia, and you briefly mentioned your long-term plan 2020. Tell us, what will Fitness Australia look like in 2018?
Well, we'll be underscored inevitably by Filex as being the principal, our principal premier event. Our awards, ultimately, will end up being part and parcel of the Filex event. That's where those award events will take place and the ceremonies around them. But also significantly, from the Fitness Australia perspective, we're more than just a directory. We're more than just a registration body. There's a whole bunch of things that we do in the advocacy space right now. We're negotiating with One Music about music tariffs. We're negotiating with the AWU with regard to the Fair Work Commission awards. We're involved at an advocacy level at many theatres. Outside of that, we are bringing on new products constantly. We've got a personal training app that we're coming out for personal trainers to use to help them run their businesses in the new year. We're bringing in the first quality accreditation program for health clubs. We'll be rolling out in the new year. We're just trialling that now at this point in time. That's massively exciting for us. And it talks to what the industry needs and what Fitness Australia as a peak national body is able to provide to support industry.
So there is no doubt that 2018 is going to be a very, very big year for Fitness Australia.
It will indeed. It will indeed.
Well, Bill, I want to thank you so much for chatting to me this afternoon, because obviously this is brand new news and it's really exciting to be able to go out live to everyone. So thank you so much to everyone that has been tuning in over the last 10 to 15 minutes or so. I have no doubt you have a raft of interviews waiting after me this afternoon, but I really appreciate your transparency in telling us all about what's happening with the joint venture and talking about the exciting news about Filex as well. Now, needless to say, there are going to be questions, more questions from our viewers this afternoon. So if people want more information, if they want to chat to you or chat to any of the team at Fitness Australia, how can they best get in contact with you?
Probably Facebook and LinkedIn would be the best avenues.
Facebook and LinkedIn.
We'll be standing by ready to answer any questions. I'm sure there'll be plenty of them that come by.
I'm sure there will be plenty of them. So look, thank you so much to everyone that has been joining us this afternoon. Bill, thank you so much for coming on and chatting to me this afternoon. To all of our listeners on the Fitness Business Podcast and of course on the Fitness Australia broadcast as well, thank you very much for tuning in this afternoon. Do make sure, I can't leave without a little plug, that you do check out today's show, which is featuring Rick Caro. It just got released today, and this Friday's show, which features Casey Conrad. So for more information on the Fitness Business Podcast, just type podcast in the comments below, and any questions relating to today's press release, today's exciting announcement from Fitness Australia, make sure you pop your comments in the section below as well, and either Bill or one of the team from Fitness Australia will respond. Thank you everyone for joining us this afternoon.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bill. I'm going to finish you there, and I'm going to finish me there.